Hey everyone, this is Julie from Oak Street Health. I'll let her introduce herself a little bit more, but she's a true wealth of knowledge and is really passionate about giving you guys the tools and knowledge you need to help make those better health decisions. We have a very special guest today as well. It's Cutie Pie. So we're really excited to have her with everyone. Please welcome Miss Julie.
Okay, can you hear me now? Not there?
Flickering right on.
Multicolor.
There we go.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thank you for letting me help you with this class. So yes, I'm Julie. I've been a nurse for quite a while. I first started being a nurse in surgery. I actually specialized on open heart surgery. I did treat all kinds of patients in there, definitely. Then I had the opportunity to move to a nursing home. Then I moved to a vascular clinic here in town, and I was helping them running the limb salvage project. So the limb salvage project is those patients that their circulation is so bad, yes, that they are trying to rescue that leg, or we just help in the process of living without the leg. The two main reasons that I observed in there for these patients is smoking and diabetes. And when they combine together, it's a huge problem. So then I had the opportunity to work with a primary care physician. That's my actual place right now. And we do a lot. When I tell you a lot, is we go way above and beyond about helping people to be healthy. We specialize in making sure more on the preventive side than the fixing side. I personally think that it's way cheaper working in the preventive than the fixing. That's why it's important to learn about it.
Can everyone please silence their phones? We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's why I think it's important that if you have a disease process, you inform yourself about the disease process and what can you do to stop it from getting worse. So that's why we have carbohydrates are evil. And we're gonna learn why. So my objective today is to help you to make healthier choices for yourself. Everything I'm here to tell you is not about just, that's not my purpose. My purpose is that you know the reasons why you should do changes in your life, how you eat, your daily choices, and then decide what works better for you. We're gonna learn what are carbohydrates, about the main two types of carbohydrates, how they affect the blood sugars. I think a lot of times when you learn how they affect your sugars, you're gonna start making better choices. Difference between good and evil carbohydrates, how to include them in a meal, and then how to substitute them. Because most of them are the things that we like to eat every single day. So how can we still like what we like to eat, but not all the time? Okay, so let's start with the food groups. So there are three main food groups that we basically should be including in every single one of our meals. It's the proteins, because your whole body is made out of proteins. Non-starchy vegetables, because they give you a lot of fiber. And they also include all the vitamins that your body needs for every single process, chemical process inside your body. And then the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are important because they provide quick energy, like a wake up. But they are mainly whole grain, peas, lentils, any kind of dairy product, bread and pastries, and corn. Every single one of them, when you eat them, gonna convert into sugars inside your body. Okay. So activity time. Did you receive a piece of paper? We're gonna work on this. Yep, I'll give you.
She's gonna pass out pencils and I'm
So we're gonna make a list of the most, now that you have an idea of what carbohydrates are, we're gonna make a list of the most common carbohydrates that you eat daily or weekly. Okay, just write them in the list. Like if you eat every single morning bread, or like if you eat, let me think, jelly with that bread. Fruit, all the fruit is a kind of carbohydrate. Just make the list. I'll give you a couple of minutes.
What we eat.
Of the most common carbohydrates that we eat. You need to remember what are carbohydrates. Think about whole grains. If you eat beans, if you eat peas every day, if you eat rice, if you drink milk at dinner every single night because that's what you like. Breading. Think about like if you like fried chicken, that breading is a carbohydrate. So just make your list. I'll give you a couple of minutes. And if you don't know if something is a carbohydrate or not, you can always ask me.
How about beans?
That is a carbohydrate.
Butter,
Which one?
butter,
Butter?
Yes. No, it's a fat.
what?
It is a fat. Fresh cheese,
Is that a dairy or is it a?
dairy.
Okay.
Like block it, and
Yeah,
Yeah,
milk
that's
Vita,
really hard.
American cheese.
it's like slicing it back, it's not pasteurized, not good.
If you eat Burger King every single morning, add it in there, please.
I'm saying compared to butter.
If you eat lunch meat has a lot of things that allows that processed meat to stay together. Normally, all those additives in the lunch meat and hot dogs is a carbohydrate. So if you eat a hot dog every single day for lunch from Cube Quick Trip, add it in there, please.
I read they put corn syrup in some processed meat. like deli meat.
Yes, and they add like the shredded cheese, it
Mhm.
has potato starch to keep the shredded cheese apart.
Because.
To keep it from becoming like a,
Keep it from.
so that's what the dusty stuff is.
Yes, potato starch. So if you like your gravy and mashed potatoes, that's a carbohydrate.
No wonder I can never
Some
bolus for mac and
carbs
cheese, right? No wonder.
So it's actually it's cheaper
Mhm.
and better for you. just
To get the block of
the
cheese.
block and shred it
That's
small.
usually what I do, but sometimes.
It's better for you.
Mm-hmm,
Because it does not have the potato starch.
right.
I guess we're ready. Okay, so now again, what are carbohydrates? Is it foods that will convert into sugars inside your body. This is the rule of thumb. If it has a starch on it, or if it is sweet, it's gonna be a carbohydrate. I'm sorry. Fruit is a carbohydrate.
I know that.
They are carbohydrates because every single fruit has a kind of sugar called, someone help me here, can't remember the name.
Glucose?
No, glucose is the aftermath, but it's
The complex carb?
it's lactose for the milk,
Fructose.
fructose, that's the fruit, that's the sugar of every single fruit.
So is it better to eat like the canned no sugar fruit than just to eat fresh fruit?
No,
No?
No.
we'll go to that.
Okay.
Now,
Even worse.
complex carbohydrates are gonna be better for you than simple carbohydrates. And an easy way to differentiate them is, what is better? Think about having oatmeal or oat bread. Which one do you think needs more process to be made? The oat bread, you have to mill the oatmeal, the oats, add some sugar, add some butter, add the yeast, and then bake it. It's a long process. Oatmeal, you just soak them in milk or soak them in water, preferably. Add some cinnamon, some almonds, and you eat it. So it's way faster. So if the process to make that food, it's a lot of work, that's gonna be a simple carbohydrate. Exceptions to the rule will be fruit, simple sugar. All of them, it's gonna be, most of the sweet things in the nature are gonna be a simple carbohydrate because they break down really fast in your system. Okay, so healthy carbohydrates, whole grains, because when they're minimally processed, so like when you make beans, not the ones with the barbecue sauce, just plain beans. I've heard everything. I've heard so many things. Just the plain beans, chickpeas, lentils, they're wonderful. I love beans in general, and I have them like in a special category because they can also give you some fiber and some protein. So in a way, they can be a kind of a complete meal. Doesn't mean that you have to eat your whole meal beans, but they will give you way more nutrition than a piece of white bread. Vegetables, squash is pretty good for you.
How about lettuce?
Which one?
Lettuce.
Lettuce. Okay, that is a non-starchy vegetable. It's really good for you because it's gonna give you fiber.
Okay. That would point for me.
Lots of fiber.
Yes. And fruits. Look for the fruits that's gonna give you a little more fiber, like oranges. Eat the whole orange, except the skin. The skin is kind of nasty. But everything else, you can eat it. Nothing is stopping you from eating it. Why? Or like watermelon. Those kind of fruits will give you a lot more fiber than just a simple grape. Simple grape doesn't have that much of fiber in it. It's mainly sugar. Another good one is apples. Apples have a lot of fiber. Now let's talk about evil carbohydrates. Breads and pastries, soda, but not diet soda. You can have diet soda. You can have seltzer water. Tonic water is a carbohydrate. That's important. Other highly processed or refined foods, like any kind of syrup, the processed meats is a big one. If it is canned in a kind of syrup, even if it says sugar-free, it's gonna be high in carbohydrates. So those are the things, like if you wanna go to the store, you wanna go and find the fresher the possible. And I understand sometimes budget is not the best. You wanna eat vegetables, you cannot afford fresh vegetables, go to the frozen section. It's 1/3 the price and you get bigger quantities. That's an easy way to switch. If you can avoid canned foods, that's better.
Canned or boxed foods,
Yes, box is really cool.
like cereals.
Activity time. You remember the list of the carbohydrates that you made? Now we're gonna classify them between evil and good carbohydrates. The evil are the
You said they're
highly
all bad?
processed ones.
To me. Me.
If you have a question again, you can ask.
How about potato?
Potato is a good one.
Avocado.
Avocados is a non-starchy vegetable, and it's wonderful.
So yes, potatoes, but the proper portion size.
Yeah.
We'll get to that too.
We'll get
We got you a lot of stuff today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, did you finish classifying? Someone needs more time for classifying the carbohydrates? Okay. Next. So this is what happens with carbohydrates when you eat them. Nope. That's it. So you see this line up here. This line is what is called the glycemic index. When you eat a simple carbohydrate, your lines in your blood sugars, you can even check them. Like if you have a CGM, a continuous glucose monitoring, you will see the exact same thing.
Yes.
It's gonna be like a zigzag, up and down, up and down, up and down, until your body finishes processing that carbohydrate in your body. They're gonna raise your sugars really high, they're gonna drop them really low, and as soon as they are low, you're gonna feel hungry again and you're gonna eat more. Interesting, huh?
It's like a roller
You feel
coaster.
that like you're, but I just ate a cookie. Why am I hungry again? So this is the thing about carbohydrates. They also become fat in our body. So diabetic people tend to have a lot more fat tissue around their belly because of this situation. Now, when you eat complex carbohydrates, fiber, or fresh or good proteins, your glycemic index is more low and it stays longer in the system, which makes you eat less. And which is a better glycemic index for you. If you want to see how your curves are, simple way to do it, look at your glucometer. And if those blood sugars, look for the average of the 7 days. If those blood sugars are above 150, your blood sugars are about this way all day long. If the 7-day average is below 150, it's more like this. Ah, made you think now. I can see some faces. I like that.
I like to check my CGM, my graphs to see my trends and can really tell.
It's a wonderful.
Mhm.
I mean, if you already inject insulin more than 3 times a day and your A1C is above 8, you can apply for a CGM. Those are, especially, those are like the 2 requisites that Medicare will ask you. If you're in Medicare, those are the first 2 things that they're gonna ask you before they approve you for a CGM.
You don't have to be on blood insulin.
You have to have insulin 3 times a day minimum.
3 times a day minimum plus an A1C over 8 as a type 2 diabetic to qualify.
Yes.
Yeah.
And pediatrics too. Doesn't matter how pediatrics are, they will get it.
And I'm not sure every doctor, but some doctors may have samples at their
Yes.
sites. Like at your site, you might be able to ask your endo or your doctor if they have a Libre
Endocrinologist.
sensor that's a sample, and you can at least monitor it for 14 days and kind of
Yeah.
see what yours looks like.
Now that mostly endocrinologists get access to that. I've
Yeah.
been working really hard trying to get them. They're expensive. That's why Medicare doesn't cover it for everyone. Okay, now, how do you think your blood sugar levels look like during the daytime? Now that you look at the list of carbohydrates. Is it more like this one or more like this? No. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. But now you can have an idea of how it looks like. And this is where we're gonna start making changes. Because this is the moment that you decide how you want it to look. You want it to stay, oh. Wow. And that's some super skill.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, real good.
Just with the power of my mind.
Yeah.
So now, this is the moment where you're gonna decide how you want your sugars to look like.
Yes.
Let's go with that part. Okay, now let's talk about how perfect portion of carbohydrates should look like. Step number 1, go home and find a 9-inch plate, and that's gonna be your plate and nobody else's. You're gonna take that plate, and you're gonna divide it in half, right in the middle. This half is gonna be vegetables, any kind of vegetables, I don't care, just look for the kind that you really like. If you wanna have everything with lettuce, you can use lettuce. If you wanna have green beans, you can use green beans, you can use carrots, all of them are good ones, right here. FYI, corn is a carbohydrate, it's not a vegetable.
I didn't know that.
Good.
Yeah, okay.
And potatoes is a carbohydrate because it has a starch. The other half of the plate, you're gonna divide it in half again, and this is gonna be your protein. Now look at my hand, and this is the trick that I like. This is gonna be fish, seafood, tuna is a kind of fish. This is gonna be turkey, chicken, pork, and beef. These 2 gonna make you chubby, these 3 gonna make you lean.
Okay.
So they're A-okay.
We're eating a lot of turkey right now.
Yeah, keep eating it.
We roasted a big turkey.
Oh,
They cut it up like in turkey salad sandwiches.
perfect, keep eating it.
Couple times a week.
Now, if you
Yeah,
really wanna eat some beef
I mean, I
and
do.
some pork, my recommendation is the cheaper the cut, the better for you. Do you know how much it costs a pack of pork chops and a pack of pork loin? Pork chops are about 3 times the price of the pork loin.
Yeah, yeah.
So pork loin is better for you. You know-
It tastes better too.
Now, compare a ribeye and a chuck roast.
Oh,
That's a cool
chuck
thing.
roast is better for you?
It's a tougher meat. You don't, and you can remove the fat, most of the fat. And you see a ribeye is all marrow.
Yeah.
So the chuck roast, you remove the fat, and that you just have to braise it for a longer time to make it softer. Now we're talking.
I have 2 and they are
It
amazing.
works. It works for chuck roast. Yeah, that's my preferred roast.
For the skinny itty bitty, what we used to call cent steaks or penny steaks
Oh, yeah, mhm.
that are very tough. Those barely have the fat on them.
What are they like is it flank?
Flank steak. Yeah.
Flank steak?
Flank steak is wonderful.
Flank steak, chuck eye steak.
So the cheaper the cut, the better for you. That's a really good way for beef and pork, but you definitely want to use this less than this other 3. Okay. Now let's talk about substitute options. So soda, I think everybody likes soda. It's like very hard to find people that do not like any kind of soda. Like for me, my thing was Dr. Pepper. That was my thing. Just switch to diet or zero. Just do the switch. Don't even think about it. Stop with the regular one, diet one. Seltzer water is really good. And that's a bit cheaper. Like they sell this one, I think, Walmart. I've seen it Aldi. It's like icy. I think it's the name.
Oh, the ice, the sparkle.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have 0 calories, 0
Some
sugar.
of them only have 5. And it's more than a can of Dr. Pepper.
I think they sell them at Quick Trip too.
Really?
Mhm. In the little. I like the bubbles.
So seltzer water. You can even take simple water, and they have all kinds of Crystal Light that are 0 sugars that you can add the flavors. And some of them are like,
I do that.
that's wonderful. I love it. Herbal teas.
Drink just plain water.
I can't.
I take the tea packet.
Look for the tea that does not have any caffeine.
Yeah. I think that.
The reason why you want to stay away from caffeine is because the more you drink, the more hungry you get. And that is because caffeine is a stimulant, and that's going to make your whole body react. That's why most of the people have their cup of coffee in the morning and go have a coffee.
I drink coffee.
Good, stay away.
I don't like it. I don't like the taste of it.
A lot of people is just every single day.
I like hot coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I
Every
love
day.
coffee.
till at least 5, 6 o'clock at
As long
night,
as I'm
that's all I drink.
Decaffeinated coffee.
No,
Yes,
it's for the caffeine, it doesn't, I don't get jitters or nothing with
No,
coffee.
decaffeinated coffee, because even
Oh,
you are just resistant to the upper part of the caffeine. But it doesn't mean that your system is not having the other effects of the caffeine. So the less
I don't
caffeine
eat
you
on it.
have,
I don't eat on drink coffee.
the less caffeine.
I'll never switch to caffeine.
I do have.
She wouldn't
I'm
survive
sorry.
without caffeine.
She just told me everything. Sorry.
It's okay.
That would
Yeah.
be my
Yeah.
idea.
My nurse told me that it can also dehydrate you as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Like, so
It's
make sure
gonna
to drink
make
water
you-
with it.
It's a stimulant. It's gonna make you go more often. And it's gonna dehydrate you, definitely. That's the other reason why some renal patients, they are not allowed.
That's right.
Mhm.
Tortillas, it doesn't matter if it is flour or corn, just ask for lettuce crumbs. This also applies like for burgers. If you go to Hardee's, I think that's where I got it, and Five Guys. Ask them to take off the bun and just use a lettuce crumb on it. If you're gonna go to any other fast food chain restaurant that you really wanna have a burger or a sandwich, just eat everything between the buns. Right there, you're cutting 300 calories and like 40 something carbohydrates. Replace the fries for a salad. If you go to the Mexican restaurant, that is like my place to go. They normally give you a lot of rice and beans. Ask them to replace the rice and beans for vegetables. And they normally give you a medley. And as soon as that to the rice, I don't know why those dishes are huge. Ask for a to-go box, and half of that meal is your dinner.
Yeah,
That's a really good way to get rid of.
get like 2 or 3 meals out of it.
Yeah. That's good. Bread, whole grain, or white bread, doesn't matter which one. Oatmeal is always good. And if you don't like sweet, you can always make it savory. I like oatmeal with spinach, and I like oatmeal with an egg on top.
Nice.
And a little pepper. Check it on YouTube. There is a recipe. It's really good. Mac and cheese, eat beans. Make cauliflower and cheese. That's an easy way to replace it. Pasta, they have bean pasta, they have egg pasta. Egg pasta is really easy. You just make it like a souffle, very thin, layer of egg in your frying pan. Then you roll it, chop it, and you set it instead of noodles.
Or they have those like vegetable shredders. And you can put the carrots or various things and it shreds them. Remember at the last cooking demo? I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be Judy.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, we tracked one down, it wasn't at Reacher, so.
You did find one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things are great. You can take various different things and make a vegetable pasta,
That's really good option.
like zucchini, yellow squash.
And all of those are really good.
Mhm.
Even a squash, if it's a complex, it's not gonna be as simple. Pasta is very simple. Okay, so takeaway. Use a 9-inch plate, limit the carb intake of the meals. Avoid drinking your carbs and use protein and non-starch vegetables for snacks. So I have an extra today. So today, I understand how a lot of people, including me, we can be busy. And managing what we're gonna eat on the go, it's difficult, especially like if you wanna think about a snack. Normally, if you think about a snack, you end up going to a candy or end up going for cookies or for whatever simple thing that you can catch up. I had a really busy day today. I have to give another class report here. I had to work at my clinic and I had to be here. That's why I was late. I'm so sorry. And I decided to collect everything I had to buy today to show you that eating on a budget and eating well is possible. So I started my morning with my coffee at home and I went to Starbucks and got egg bites. Egg bites is 170 calories with a lot of protein in them and minimum carbohydrates. It's like 1 or 2. I drank like 5 of these all day long because I don't have water, but this is the perfect size for me. I couldn't go and have lunch. I was lucky enough that my workplace had some sandwiches for the patients. And when they finished the activity, I just snooped one out of there. I ate one half of the bread, not the whole bread. And I added a lot of lettuce and a lot of pickles and olives and mustard.
Did you say pickles?
Pickles. Pickles are wonderful. They lower your cholesterol. They help you with fiber. They help you with feeling full for a longer time. They're wonderful. And that sandwich was the smaller one from Subway. So that was lunch. And then I had to think about snacks. For snacks, I went yesterday, bought me these. That means it was like $3. And I actually ate 2 portions today. This has 10 portions on it. So the way I measure the portion, I just take the lid, pour it in there, and whatever fits on the lid, without making a huge tower.
I'm like.
That is the portion. I know.
Sometimes you can't tell you how many.
Yeah, but I'm on the go and I don't have a weight.
I think it does tell you like 1/3 of a cup or whatever it may be. So if you're
It
at home,
does,
you can.
it's a quarter of a cup. Yeah.
Oh, this
And this only has 5 carbohydrates, which are 3 dietary fibers. So that means 5 minus 3, it's 2 carbohydrates right there. Has some fat and it has 7 grams of protein. So I'm getting way more protein than carbohydrates right here. And I just keep it on the course. Whenever I need to eat, like right now I haven't had lunch, I had another 3 portions of this on the So yes, it can be done if we plan enough, or we consciously think how we're gonna replace this. So that's another takeaway that I had for you today, showing you what I had to eat. Okay. These are some resources that you can use. My plate website is a really good one. I like also the Diabetes Educator website has a lot of tools for patients. That is a really good one too.